Hello and welcome to Shorts. In this video I'm going to be experimenting with threads. I'm going to be creating a thread from a class using the implements runnable keywords. Now I'm going to start where I left off from last video, where I have a main class with a main method, and display class that is responsible for creating a display using a JFrame and a canvas. In the same package I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to name this print thread. Now inside this print thread, actually here I'm going to say that print thread implements runnable. And this is going to give me an error, because as this is a thread, it is going to need a method called run. This is similar to my main thread's main method. When I'm going to call this thread, this run method is going to automatically execute. Now inside this run method, I'm going to want to execute the following code. I'm going to need a method to initialize some variables, so I'm going to call this init for initialize. And I'm going to need another method called render. Now I'm going to want this render function to run over and over again, so I'm going to put it into an infinite loop, like this. Now I have not yet made these methods, so now I'm going to go ahead and do those. Outside my run method, I'm going to make a method called render. Set this to public void. And I'm also going to declare a few public variables. I'm going to create a public buffer strategy called BS. Don't forget to import these. A public graphics called G. And a public display from the display class which we have created called display. Now I'm going to be able to set up my renderer. Now renderer is just going to be responsible for creating a buffer strategy and a graphics object, and it's just going to use this magic to print to my canvas. So I'm going to say display.getCanvas. This is the method that we have created in our display class. This is just returning the canvas from our display object. .create.get buffer strategy. Then I'm going to make a for loop, or an if statement actually, just to check if BS equals to null. Then I'm going to say display.getCanvas.create a buffer strategy, and we're going to be using a double buffer. Then I'm going to set G equals to BS.getGraphics, and I'm going to clear my rectangle on my canvas in each cycle. So I would not be drawing on top of my previous image. So it's g.clearRect, and I'm going to be clearing my entire rectangle, and I'm going to be clearing an area of 300 by 300. At this point, I'm going to be able to start drawing. So everything from here I'm going to be drawing something, and then I'm going to be ending my drawing, and then I'm going to have to show what I have drawn using the bas.show, and then I'm going to have to clear my graphics object, or just dispose actually, dispose G. Now the renderer is done, and next I'm going to initialize a few things. So I'm going to make a method for that as well. Here I am going to declare a few new variables. I'm going to make a public string called line, and I'm going to create a public scanner scan object, import scanner. Then inside my init, I'm going to initialize these variables. First, I'm going to have to initialize the display. I'm going to set this to a new display, and the title is going to be my display, and the width is going to be 300 by 300. Then I'm going to initialize scan. I'm going to set this equals to a new scanner, and the source is going to be system.in, which is technically, for in our case, going to be the console. Very well. Now, for what we're going to be drawing here is going to be determined by another method for the sake of clarity. And I'm going to make a method called input. And input is going to take the graphics object and it's going to do something with it. So I'm going to create a new method called public void input, and this method is just going to be responsible for reading the input that I'm going to be typing into the console. For this, I'm going to set I'm going to set the line equal to scan.nextLine. So this is going to be scanning the next line from the console, and then it's going to g.drawLine or draw string, and the string that it's going to draw is the line, and I'm just going to manually set the location to 20 pixels and 20 pixels in my coordinate system. Alright. Oh yes, and this is also going to take a graphics object called G, and then this should be working. Alright, I'm going to run this now and see if we have accomplished what we wanted. So I'm going to make a print thread object called myThread1, and I'm just going to set this equals to a new print thread. Then I'm going to create a new thread, which is a Java keyword called th1, and I'm going to set this to a new thread, and the target is going to be my thread object, and then I'm just going to use the th1.start method to start executing my run method in my print thread class. Now I'm going to run this, and I have this display that popped up, And I'm going to show you what happens if I start writing. Looks like I forgot a line of code. In my render function, in my if statement, I'm just going to write return. And now this should run properly. Very well. Now I'm going to show you what happens if I write something here. And it pops up in my display. And so this is running on thread right now. We have our thread working. If I write something else, it also pops up in my display. Alright, well, this is all for this video because I'm running out of recording time. I'm going to be continuing this in the next video, so just click to continue from there. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you found this useful.